Hello everyone. In this tutorial, what I'll be covering is the PHP while loop. Now, the while loop is very useful if we need to perform a repetitive operation. For example, say we needed to list over 100 names in a database, or say we wanted to list all the multiples of 3 from 1 to 50. Using a while loop would be the best choice to carry out this repetitive action. So here's the basic layout for a while loop. And I'm going to write a comment block. And inside that comment block, I'm going to write the word while. I'm going to open my parentheses and say, while this condition is true. Close my parentheses, open a curly brace. On the next line, I'm going to say execute this code. Then on the next line, I'm going to close my curly brace. All right. So as you can see, this looks very familiar to our if statement, except we're using the word while. All right, so let's evaluate what we have here. So while this condition is true, we're going to execute this code. Once we're done executing this code, and it may be multiple lines, we're going to reevaluate this condition. We're going to check to see if it's still true after we execute this code. If this condition is still true, again, execute this code again. After we're done executing this code, come back to this condition, check it again, see if it's true. If it is, again, execute this code. So you can see it's a while loop. It's just looping until this condition is false. So now that we know the basic layout for a while loop, let's use a while loop to list all the multiples of 3 from 1 to 50. So what I'm going to do is write a comment, and I'm going to say example. Then I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to assign to that variable the numerical value 1. And in comments, I'm going to say keeps up with the current count in loop. All right. Now I'm going to start my while loop. I'm going to say while, open my parentheses, while counter is less than or equal to 50. Close my parentheses, open my curly brace. On the next line, I'm going to say the variable answer is assigned 3 times counter, and with a semicolon. In comments, I'm going to say perform calculation. On the next line, I'm going to say echo 3 times counter is equal to answer. I'm going to put a horizontal line. This is just basic HTML. End it with a semicolon. And in comments, I'm just going to say this really is 3 times 1 equals 3. And I'm going to explain this in a second. On the next line, I'm going to say counter increment. Remember this from our operators tutorial. End it with a semicolon. In comments, I'm going to say add 1 to counter. Then lastly, I'm going to close my curly brace. All right, so let's reevaluate what's going on here. First, I just created a variable, nothing new here. I assigned a value to it, 1. And now we get to the while loop. So with the while loop, what we're doing here is we're saying while counter is less than or equal to 50, continue to execute this code. Or I shouldn't say continue, but execute this code and then come back around and reevaluate this condition. All right, so let's take it very slow here. First, counter is equal to 1, right? And 1 is less than or equal to 50. All right, so we're going to come to this next line here. We're going to say answer is assigned 3 times counter. Again, counter is 1, so really that's just 3 times 1, which is equal to 3. So we're going to assign the numerical value 3 to answer. All right, so once we do that, we're going to come to the next line. We're going to echo out that information. So all I'm doing here is just saying 3 times 1 is equal to answer, which is 3. And again, I'm just putting a horizontal line just to make it easier to read. So all I'm really saying there is 3 times 1 equals 3. Very straightforward. Now, remember from our operators tutorial here with the increment, when I put 2 plus signs after the variable, all I'm doing here is adding 1 to that variable. So now counter is equal to 2 once I execute this code here. I'm just adding 1 to it. So now the counter equals 2. We're going to come back up here to the while loop, evaluate this condition again. Remember, counter is now equal to 2. So really we're saying 2 is 2 less than or equal to 50, which it is. That's true. So we're going to execute this code again. So answer is going to equal 3 times 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. We're going to assign the numerical value 6 to answer. We're going to come to the next line. Again, really what we're saying here with the next line is 3 times 2 equals 6. All right. So then we're going to hit this line again. We're going to hit the increment again. Remember, counter this time is 2. So as soon as we execute this code, now counter is going to equal 3. So again, once we're done with this final line in the while loop, we're going to come back up here, reevaluate this condition again. Remember, counter this time is 3. So we're saying is 3 less than or equal to 50? It is. It evaluates to true. So again, we're going to execute this code again. So hopefully it's starting to sink in what's going on here. Until counter is not less than or equal to 50, we're going to continue to execute this code over and over and over again. But as soon as it's say 51, we're going to break out of this while loop since this evaluates to false. So we're going to break out of this while loop and continue on with any code that we have in our file. All right, so let me change this back to counter, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save it as while.php. Then I'm going to load this into my browser. I'm going to say localhost PHP basics. Let's change this to while. Hit enter. All right, so as you can see here, we have 3 times 1 equals 3 horizontal line, 3 times 2 equals 6. And this just continues on until we get to 3 times 50. Again, we were just doing 1 to 50. So as you can see, it quickly did this. Again, this is a lot quicker than we could have did by hand. So with computers being so fast, it's loading it so fast that we can't even see it doing all these different calculations. So that's just really great about the while loop. It allows us to do a lot of repetitive operations that would normally take us a long time to do if we had to do each line one by one. So going back over here to the script, I could have changed 50 to say 100, and I hit save, and I went back to my browser, hit refreshed, and scrolled all the way down to the bottom. As you can see, the counter got all the way down to 100 and it hit 300. So again, once this condition is false, we're going to exit this while loop, and I'm going to change this back to 25. Let's do 25. And then after the while loop, I'm going to say echo, welcome to the PHP basics. All right. And let's put a line break there. All right. And I'm going to hit save, refresh my browser. And as you can see, as soon as the counter equaled 25, we exited that while loop, and then we just echoed, or we executed the rest of the code in this file. So hopefully now you're starting to understand how the while loop works. So that does conclude this tutorial, and hopefully now you have a new or better understanding about the PHP while loop. So be sure to take the online quiz at thephpbasics.com to ensure you understand the basic concepts for a while loop. And I will see you in the next video.